Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast between pokeroffKas and MorroW here in the Xel'Naga Caverns, not on the Xel'Naga Caverns, because how can you be playing on a cavern? Doesn't quite make sense. Anyways, pokeroffKas spawning over here on the north side of the map as the yellow Terran player. Meanwhile, back over here we have MorroW spawning as the light blue or the sky blue Terran player. So this is a Terran versus Terran matchup. And a little bit of a spoiler, yes, I know Terran's going to win, or at least I think so. Back over here, MorroW continuing to train up more. Gonna pull up the production tab so you guys can see where exactly these players start to deviate from each other's strategy. Now we do see the supply depot should be placed down. There we go, almost nearly identical times by both sides. And taking a look at the income, both sides, oh, somehow MorroW having a little bit of an economic note. Never mind. Okay, so apparently they're talking about the they're apparently talking about the lag and how light it is. So this is much better than a previous game that I guess they had played. Kaz now throwing down that supply depot there. That's a nice positioning on that supply depot. Can be raised or lowered to stop any sort of Reaper harassment that try to come around that backside, or even some Hellion harassment. We do see barracks now being thrown down by both sides. So pokeroffKas now throwing down a barracks along with MorroW, and also getting a refinery. So MorroW getting that refinery first, with pokeroffKas a split second behind there as well. Will we see Reapers, Marauders, Marines? And that is probably where they're going to start deviating, or go straight into factories. Now we do have an earlier SCV scout coming in from Kaz as opposed to MorroW. So Kaz will be able to get first sight, but it doesn't look like Kaz wanted to activate that Xel'Naga watchtower. Neither does MorroW. So both sides just not activating that Xel'Naga watchtower, now coming around on the inside of those destructible rocks. This SCV deciding not to go that long way, and they will be coming into each other's base in just a moment. We do have a Marine now being trained and a command center being upgraded to an orbital command. That barracks, that Marine will be done in about another 10 units of time. This Marine over here taking about another 5 units of time as this orbital command center nearing completion. And we finally have another supply depot coming in from MorroW. MorroW getting that earlier supply depot much earlier than he really needs to, as he's going to probably have the supply depot done before he really even needs that and go above 17/19. Finally over here, Kaz now throwing on a supply depot as well, so he's going to be a little bit closer in terms of being supply locked. MorroW will be able to throw down barracks there, or throw down and get a Reaper, and now also train up an SCV as well. So I guess if he wanted to, he could have had the option to go for an early Marauder as well, but now going for that early Reaper. So it is going to be an early Reaper versus now a factory being placed down by Kaz. So Kaz will have a smaller army. Will that smaller army make that much of a difference? It might, as the production of pokeroffKas. Oh, now he's finally training up a Reaper as well. So both sides training up a Reaper. Whoever gets that first hit first will be the winner in that engagement. Reaper now moving out, a Marauder in tow, as a Reaper and a Marauder are going to go ahead and jump out. And we do have 2 Marines in the center of the field, or on that map, along with 2 more Reapers being trained up by Kaz. So 1 Reaper will be completed in just a moment's notice. The second one will be completed as well, as we are now getting stim research by MorroW. So MorroW is now over here training up a stim pack and continuing to train up more SCVs, dropping another orbital supply or another meal in order to mine up more. We see MorroW now also taking up an expansion of his own, while pokeroffKas throwing down a starport. So it is a 1-1-1 build, and now this Reaper finally moving out. Will that Reaper be able to get sight on this Reaper over here? And now gonna cut off a quick shot. Oh, that Reaper finally over there. Is he gonna be able to chase and take down that Reaper? That Reaper down to 8 hit points. This Marine this Reaper at 32, and this Marine over here, will it be enough to come back around? And oh, shot him out of the sky. So that Reaper destroying that other Reaper, shooting him out of the sky and making him go kaput. Back over here we do have MorroW now sitting with double Marauders here. We do see Marines and Marauders positioned over here. I'm kind of surprised we don't see 1 Reaper jump into this position and try to figure out what exactly is being built. There is that 1-1-1, and now a medevac being played. We do have a command center being built by pokeroffKas. It will be lifted off and then placed into this position over here, as now we have an orbital command being upgraded already. So MorroW will have a slight economic advantage just because he's able to mine off of more mineral patches, throwing down some missile turrets as well. I'm not quite sure what he expects. Perhaps Banshees at some point in the game, or perhaps a medevac drop into this position. Double mules now being called down, so you're going to see an even bigger jump in MorroW's economy in just a moment, and there it goes up into the 1,000 range per every game minute. Back over here, we have one Reaper by MorroW. So MorroW really has map control, able to see nearly 50% of the map, but we already have pokeroffKas now moving out with this medevac. We do have the stim pack currently being researched. We'll take another 70 units a time, so that is about, I believe, 55 real seconds. So will by the time that medevac gets there, that stim pack research will not yet be completed. That medevac may want to hang back just a little bit, perhaps drop the units along this backside here, let them heal up after the first stim, and then move into this position. However, this missile turret not being completed, not quite sure why, as that is probably going to be a very, very key critical thing over here. And now we finally have these units, that medevac pulling back as these Marines and Marauders pushing in, trying to take down some more of these units over here. No stim pack research just quite yet, and quickly being picked up and only losing one Marine in that engagement. So beautifully done. So Kaz now finally pulling back. That stim pack research should be completed, and yeah, in about another 8 seconds there, as a reactor now being thrown down and another tech lab. So pokeroffKas going for a standard MMM off of 3 racks and 1 starport without a reactor, as this medevac should be able to drop into this position and then quickly take down this one Marine there. Marine quickly getting taken down. Stim pack has finished. I do not see any concussive shell research though, so that is a bit surprising, and no combat shield as well. Usually MMM, you definitely need that. Orbital command slowly floating its way over here to the expansion location will land and start calling down some mules as well. We do see the combat shield research now being researched by pokeroffKas, and now Marines and Marauders in the center of the field. Unit army wise, we have what, 1,200 versus 1,150, but MorroW has the more expensive gas army in this particular instance, with these 3 medevacs, each of them costing an additional 100 gas, so he will be able to heal out and win in a war of attrition if the fight does go long. However, MorroW just trying to win with brute force, now producing off of 5 barracks, or will be producing off of 5 barracks. And now we see these Marines and Marauders coming in over here to try to take down these rocks. Not quite sure why they didn't attack over here. Now, one of the things that I commonly like to say is, as a Terran player, you really want to take these gold mineral locations. What you can do is you can put siege tanks along here and here, and it protects this expansion. Anyone trying to come down this expansion, you can also put a sensor tower here to watch any of this back door, or even a sensor tower down in here to make sure that no units are trying to come along the back. In comes a group of Marines and Marauders. Down goes one Reaper. No concussive shell research just quite yet. And now combat shield should be done in about a little bit more time. Yeah, so another 10 units a time there, 15 units a time for that to be completed. One Marine with the Xel'Naga watchtower keeping track of this movement of these Marines and Marauders over here. Now we see MorroW quickly getting more and more, going to throw down a factory here, perhaps try to train up some more Hellions, or train up some Hellions in order to combat this whole entire attack. One Marine now running for his life away from the battlefield and up that ramp. There are no medevacs, so that is going to be an issue. Army-wise, we do see that MorroW has about the same size, but these Marines and these Marauders, as they're being healed, and they can use stim pack much more freely, and now out comes some SCVs, so MorroW calculating this, knowing that he needs some SCVs, quickly picking up, now going to drop, however, oh, a missile turret in a perfect position, taking down 2 of those medevacs. Oh my goodness. Yeah, pokeroffKas just has to laugh at that. Going to lose that 3rd medevac as well, but there's nothing in the belly of that. And what a switch in that army size. Absolutely crazy. This medevac down to 6 hit points. And now pokeroffKas, in a very, very defensive posture, will need to try to macro up a large army after losing, what was that, 10 total supply, at least 10 total, probably 1,000 in minerals, and more gas in that whole entire fight over here. Medevac now finally able to pull back. That medevac does have full energy, so most likely will get repaired, but wow, those losses just really starting to rack up. And now MorroW, with medevacs of his own, will be able to deal a significant amount of damage as well. These rocks will quickly get taken down by these Marines and these Marauders as well. I do not see an additional command center being built by MorroW, as more mules now being called in. More supply depots also being laid down, so MorroW now really macroing it up a lot more. You see that MorroW training up siege tanks, medevacs, now also getting an armory. Back over here, we now see a command center by Kaz. Kaz on the defensive as SCVs repairing that one critical medevac that was able to barely escape from that last battle. Back over here, we do see the Marines and the Marauders. Marines and Marauders are upgraded 1-1. pokeroffKas is at 0-0, but there are a couple of siege tanks in position already, so 3 siege tanks should be able to give some protection at this natural expansion. MorroW deciding not to push in as he has an expansion of his own at this high yield mineral location currently being built. He doesn't want to overexpose himself just quite yet as more siege tanks now move out. However, are we going to get an elevator drop? Yeah, an elevator drop into the main base here, going to pick up more and more units and now drop in once again. These medevacs have a lot of cargo, and now Marines and Marauders trying to fight back. MorroW with nowhere to run, nowhere to hide here, and these units are fighting back and forth. A lot of Marines and the Marauders are not able to deal as much damage towards those Marines. However, one siege tank able to continue to push back these units here, and now units are going to be forced to pull back. Perhaps one siege tank needs to be positioned here, so these 4 siege tanks able to barely hold off that attack, even though MorroW has the larger army. pokeroffKas able to fend it off, so nicely done using those siege tanks, unsieging and resieging those siege tanks very, very quickly. Back over here, we do see MorroW now getting up some siege tanks of his own with more medevacs. Going to go ahead and try to reinforce this whole entire attack force. We do see medevacs, some of them were very, very low on energy, now being supplemented with 4 additional medevacs. So those 4 medevacs and these siege tanks and Marines and Marauders will be able to push out very, very easily as well. More Marines and Marauders all rallied to that center location. So yeah, you can see there's the rally points for the barracks, the rally point for that factory, and that starport is right here. So just boom, boom, boom. Back over here, we now see an upgrade to an orbital command, not a planetary fortress, as the fight going to engage. Another scanner sweep here. Orbital command may decide to lift off and try to take an additional expansion over here. Center tower is revealing this whole entire attack. And now pokeroffKas does see that there's one medevac over here. Now going to go ahead to this low ground. Not 100% sure. Quickly scanning in to try to figure out what exactly is over there. There are now 5 siege tanks here. That one center tower providing plenty of sight, as a missile turret now being positioned over here. So really, how is pokeroffKas going to handle this attack? This is a very, very wide front door. There are 2 channels that MorroW can try to use to push in. No siege tanks along here, only siege tanks here and here with that one sensor tower. And if it is going to be a 2-pronged attack, perhaps Marines from over here, Marauders from over here, they will be able to push in very, very easily, and then at least destroy some of these siege tanks that are quite exposed. We do see some missile turrets now being laid down by MorroW, so MorroW getting these missile turrets just in case these medevacs continue in pursuit, and making sure that those missile turrets are able to shoot them down and minimize his losses as well. So more siege tank army wise, you see MorroW sitting at 5,300, 2075 in terms of mineral and gas versus 3950 and 1800. We now see another sensor tower over here, so MorroW now containing his opponent with this one sensor tower here, with a couple missile turrets and over here, and now most likely, yeah, missile turrets across the map. MorroW will not be able to escape this, and it will only be able to mine off of these last 8 mineral patches here. So these 8 mineral patches are all that's going to be left, and he needs to clear out these rocks in order to mine from there. We do see an engagement here, siege tanks and Marauders moving in, and I was talking too much. I'm going to go ahead and rewind that a couple as I was talking about that engagement. So there we go, siege tanks, medevacs in this position trying to move out. Are these siege tanks quickly doing one quick scanner sweep, moving in but quickly already getting overexposed, and now this much larger army, pokeroffKas is suiciding his units in. And yeah, that was a really, really just horrible decision and horrible timing there. I do not think pokeroffKas ever really recovered from losing that 1,000 mineral army from those 2 dropships because of this one missile turret. That one missile turret, it says it has 1 kill, but that 1 kill was 1 medevac with one fully loaded medevac with Marines and Marauders. So that was really the hero missile turret in that game. Or in this game. So dropping the army size of pokeroffKas from 3,000 down to 500 very, very quickly. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed this 1v1 replay between pokeroffKas and MorroW here in the Xel'Naga Caverns.